Hi, everyone. Welcome to our January meeting. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope everyone had a great new year. I know that we're all very excited to see what the new year holds and ready for some exciting things coming for millennials in travel. Josh, Caitlin, Kate, and myself had an opportunity to meet last week and sort of just set the stage for what will come for this year. So really excited that you all have committed and are with us in the growth and development and all the exciting things we have planned for millennials in travel. So thank you. I know I wasn't able to join the meeting last month. I apologize for that. It was an unexpected little bit of leave that I was on, but I'm glad to be here back with you this month. And yeah, we're excited for what's to come, and we'll be setting like some goals and refocusing on some strategies and some program growth and implementation. So lots of good things to come. I thought I'd just start by doing just a quick overview on a couple of things, and then just as we have before, we'll kind of go through each of the individual departments within the organization, and of course just try to keep the structure to what we're working on and a summary of things to come, and more importantly how we can collaborate across the positions and support one another. So first I just wanted to update you just a couple leadership updates. At this moment we have 3 positions open within our management team. So if you know anybody that would like to get involved in millennials in travel as one of our managers, we currently have a vacancy for our social media manager, our technology manager, and our digital content manager. If you have questions about what those positions entail, you could reach out to myself or to Caitlin, as most of those positions fall under Caitlin. So we're definitely looking to fill those roles sooner rather than later. They're really important, as everything that we do in the organization involves communication. So I want to make sure that that we find the right people for those positions and have a robust team to help support our communication efforts. So again, that was social media managers. If you know any social media whizzes out there, or people that really want to maybe enhance or showcase their social media skills in a professional setting and get involved with the organization, please let us know. Also digital content, which is the person that develops our newsletter and other communications that we send out. And then of course, our technology manager, which helps with a lot of the technical digital aspects of what we do. Josh or Caitlin, do you have anything to add? Nope. Okay. And at this time, I think actually all of our positions, if you can believe this, knock on wood, I think all of our positions at the chapter level are filled right now, which is great. We have so much engagement and excitement at the chapter level, and it's allowing us to feel really comfortable and confident to now start to consider new chapter development. So that's something that Stephanie and I will be working on as well. Just a few notes on some upcoming events and communications. I decided to kind of add this as a part of every meeting as we kick off each monthly meeting, just to let you know kind of what's coming down the pipeline in the next couple of months. Our newsletter that Caitlin has created, I just got a sneak peek of it today. The content is amazing, and it drops tomorrow, January 11th. Like it's our album, it's dropping tomorrow, January 11th. So make sure that you receive it in your inbox. If it's going to your spam or you're not getting it at all, please let us know, because we are trying to work through some of those issues. It's gotten a lot better. I know that it used to hit people's spam boxes before, but it's kind of getting through. So that's what we want to see. And then of course, feel free to share that with your colleagues through social media, forwarding the email. Encourage people to sign up for our database, of course, so that they get that newsletter. It's got really great content about our past fans, our upcoming fans, some different educational and professional development opportunities. So a lot of good stuff. And again, that's our monthly newsletter, and it will typically go out, Caitlin, I believe the first or second week of the month going forward. Is that right? Yeah. So
yes. So we kind of got behind schedule, just as it goes, and we're sending it towards the end of the month, and we kind of took the opportunity of starting the new year and want to get back on track and start sending it like the second week of every month, like looking at the Tuesday of the second week of each month.
Cool. So that's a good reminder to everyone. If you have content or anything you want to contribute, make sure that that's received in due time to be included. So newsletter coming tomorrow. Be sure to share it with everyone. We also have a San Diego event planned for January 27th. This was previously scheduled in December, and then we decided with the holidays and everything going on to push it to January. So it's now scheduled for January 27th, San Diego chapter event. If you know anyone in San Diego, be sure to let them know. And we'll also be sending out the invite and doing some promotion on social media as well. We had tentatively planned to hopefully have a New York meetup event during the Travel and Adventure Show on January 29th. However, I spoke with the New York chapter today, and they're very hesitant to do any events whatsoever. So that's tabled for the time being. And the New York chapter is working on some other events for the next couple of months. But I think with the current situation, they're tabling that event idea for right now. Same with Chicago. We had a tentative meetup scheduled to coincide with the Travel and Adventure Show for February 5th, but that may be tabled for the moment as well. Some cities are feeling more comfortable to move ahead with events than others, so we want to, of course, be conscious of that and not, of course, make anyone have an event if they don't feel comfortable doing so. So those are tabled for the moment, but our Charleston chapter has just shared that they have an event planned for February 8th. So that'll give us something to look forward to in February, and then tentatively, hopefully, a Los Angeles event for March 12th, which would coincide with the Travel and Adventure Show. So that's just what's coming up for the next 3 months. So each month I'll kind of tell you what's projected for the next 3 months ahead, so you can keep those dates top of mind.
I just want to talk about, so we, with regards to events, we are always maintaining the policy, the strictest of policies from the federal, state, county, city, and venue as far as their COVID policies. So whatever is the strictest, we adhere to those. I think it's important that, and I think everyone knows at this point, even when you follow the strictest of policies, there's still a possibility that has happened to us in the last couple of months, and we've handled it as best we can as an organization and have followed all CDC guidelines of informing participants that have attended that event and open communication. And it's inspiring, and I'm thankful that the feedback that we've gotten when we do unfortunately have to send these nerve-wracking emails to people that there has been a possible exposure is that it is the reality of our situation, and this isn't going to deter them from attending events in the future. But we also want to be cognizant of those that are at planning. Liability wise, we're protected. So there's that, but there's also the brand aspect of it, in that if we're very proactive in having all of these events, it may be a little irresponsible. So we're just supportive of whatever the chapters are deciding in their local jurisdictions. And if it makes sense for them, then we're here to support. If it doesn't make sense for them, then let's look at alternative ways. So just know that we are doing everything that we can to support the chapters, adhere to all guidelines and policies. And then we've added the additional element with FAMs that vaccinations are required at this point. That is 2 shots or 1 shot if it's Johnson & Johnson. At some point soon, we will probably implement the mandate of having a booster, but that's all going to be in accordance with the CDC guidelines. So that's all we can go on at this point.
Thanks, Josh. That was perfect segue, because I was going to talk about events next and have you highlight that. So that was perfect. Jumped right ahead there. On the subject of events, unfortunately, it looks like Erica couldn't be with us tonight, but one of the things that she will be focusing on, I just had briefly mentioned the Travel and Adventure shows. So if there's a number of Travel and Adventure shows, and I'm sure Elizabeth will mention this in a bit as well, and what our involvement actually entails, but they take place in various cities across the country throughout the next, I think, 5 months from now through May. So if they're taking place in a city where we don't have a chapter, our hope is to have a pop-up event, and that to sort of be like a prerequisite or a prequel to a potential chapter launch, because it's in cities where we want to have chapters eventually. So just to give you a heads up on the next, on the first upcoming 3, other than the possible ones for New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, where of course we have chapters. There will also be travel and adventure shows taking place in Washington, DC, Boston, and Atlanta. So our hope is to have a pop-up event in Washington, DC on February 26th, in Boston on March 5th, and in Atlanta on April 23rd. And then from there, that'll hopefully give us the opportunity to gauge the interest to launch a chapter. And I know that we have interested people in all three of those cities. And so this will, I think, help us kind of get the ball, rolling and get everything off the ground to actually formally launch a chapter there. So that would be really exciting.
Monica,
and then,
Monica,
yeah.
Sorry, just a quick question.
Yeah.
For all these events that are listed, do I have the green light to add this to the website or hold off?
Hold off for now. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
send you like a content submission form when it should be added to the website.
I think we can include the fact that there's the actual travel and adventure
show.
Yeah. But
I think those are up already.
I think so too. But until we have confirmed venues and dates and times, I think we want to hold off.
Cool.
Yeah. Hold off to promote any events or put them on the website until you actually get that content submission form, with the exception of the one you got for Charleston last week, because they sent that before they actually submitted the event. So I had to remind them just of like the process for that. And then also just wanted to, on the subject of events, I guess maybe open it up for like a 1-minute conversation. If anybody has any thoughts or feedback or recent experiences with virtual events. So we've toyed with the idea of continuing to do virtual events, maybe one per quarter, because it brings the organization together on a national platform, but only under the requirement that the content would be very valuable for people. So one idea we had was like a professional development series of events that might highlight things like salary negotiation, public speaking skills, interview, resume skills, things of that nature that would benefit anyone in the industry, whether you're moving in the industry, staying in the industry, and just wanting to improve, your skills in your current role, or perhaps thinking of branching out to another position within the industry. Just curious if anybody's had any kind of recent experience with virtual events lately, and do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I'll just chime in.
Thank you.
Amex came out and they are going virtual for the entire year. So they've already committed to being virtual. I can tell you from Belmont's standpoint, we've canceled everything in the first quarter that was supposed to be in person. So, it certainly is continuing. I think the hopes are that we're going to reboot in April. But everything that was originally supposed to be in person this first quarter has now moved back to Zoom. And that, that's everything that I've been a part of. It's literally just like what you said at the beginning of this call. It was like, oh, here we are again. But people are just not comfortable with putting their employees on a plane still.
Okay. Anyone else have thoughts?
I mean, from a TTC perspective, our last year was very successful with virtual events. And as long as there's a value add or some sort of service or some sort of development that someone can get from it, and it takes like 45 minutes, an hour, as well as maybe some open Q&A and discussion, and like maybe some free form conversation as well. I think that's definitely a value.
Okay, so you think like around 45 minutes is like kind of a good max event, knowing that things can kind of run over a little bit with questions or like chit chat at the end. Okay. Anyone else? No other comments? Okay. Well, if you think of anything.
We talked about at the directors meeting that, obviously everyone zoomed out, but at the same point, I think we can push the envelope as far as new content. So, I think probably everyone here might, if there was a 45-minute virtual event that was talking about salary negotiation and, how do you ask for a raise or things like that. I mean, I haven't seen that. I'm sure it's out. I'm sure it's been out there. But if it's something that is, travel specific, and we find somebody that can actually guide us on those conversations, I think that it would be valuable. So if we were to do a series, such as salary negotiation, public speaking, interview, how to interview, raise your hand if it's something that you would attend.
I would, but I'm supportive of everything.
Okay, Kate, okay.
Kate's like, no.
He's like, I'm good to go.
Because we already talked about this, so
I know. Okay. So I think maybe what we do, Mon, is we task, we make the introduction, to those like Sarah Crosby on salary negotiation or whatnot, and with a particular team, like maybe New York, and like have them steer the content and that be their, event.
Okay. I was thinking something slightly different, but you and I can discuss offline.
Sure, we'll take it
go
offline.
from there. Okay. All right. So that's great. Thanks for the input on that. Moving over to FAMs, Anina, do you want to just give us like a 1 minute update on, I know we need a host for a couple of upcoming FAMs and what's confirmed, and then just briefly what's in the pipeline.
Yeah, so we just sent out our Scottsdale invite. It was pushed into February, which is over Valentine's Day now, Feb 13th through the 15th, 2 nights at the Biltmore. Experience Scottsdale still is working on the FAM agenda, but it's going to be a couple of sites of other resorts and hotels, and then a little bit of activities. We are requiring a host for this one. So if anybody is interested, please let me know. Since it's a domestic FAM, we are not covering the airfare for this particular one, but the rest is obviously taken care of. And then the next one up, which we're gonna launch next week or the week after, we need to figure that out, Monica, is actually really exciting with Shangri-La hotels in Paris and in London, 2 nights each with the train ride in the middle, as well as activities and business class tickets, round trip airfare, which is really exciting. Yeah, so this one also requires a host still, which is, I think, a really cool one. And the dates for this one is March 7th through the 11th. So if anybody's interested in this particular one, let me know. The airfare is obviously included with this one. The participants do have to pay the fees, taxes and fees on top of what we're going to charge for the FAM. We're still working out that, but obviously the host, we will cover that with our charge to the participants. And then I just confirmed the next one for April, which is with the SLS Cancun, which will be April 1st to the 4th. I'm working now on those details. And then I'm still working on the May one. There might be one with Mexico, but not sure yet. I have a call tomorrow with Belmont, South America for June. Very exciting. New Zealand, we still have to figure that one out. I kind of have a feeling that might not happen this year, but we can still hope. And then we probably have Hawaii at the end of this year already lined up. And then also the Bahamas FAM that we had postponed will be this year in October. So we're kind of shaping up to a pretty full FAM schedule. We did decide to maybe stay away from July and August, depending on what the offers are and what the situation is at that point. But I'm kind of, if anything comes up, we can kind of review it. But it's been, I think it's good to connect with people again now in the new year and just start really getting down on the details, because that's what takes the most time usually. And then also,
did we end up doing a press? We did a press release for the FAMs, right? I think we did. Last year?
We relaunched our FAM program.
Yeah.
We did last year. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be, kind of up to Natalie what she thinks, if it's newsworthy to say like our 2022 FAM program is launched, or maybe.
Yeah, I mean, why don't we table that? Have like a sidebar conversation about it.
Would it include like international? Maybe we didn't do international last year and we're doing international this year.
True.
Well, we did do international with the Caribbean. We didn't do it as far as
Caribbean. That's debatable, right? We could make that.
Yeah, I mean it is, but yeah.
Maybe you know what I think. We can do is Caroline. She's not on the call tonight, but I think if we're able to secure philanthropic or elements to all of our fans, that's the story and that's the pitch, is that, new for 2022, while we're continuing our successful fan program, we've now taken that opportunity to implement sustainable initiatives and philanthropic activities in all of our fans. So that's the pitch. And that if we can secure, if we miss it for Phoenix, that's fine, or Scottsdale, that's fine. I know you guys are having those conversations for all of the future fans. So I think that we can look at maybe putting something out in the marketplace and in the media in, like 2 or 3 weeks, once we know the first couple, and we can fully commit to including some type of philanthropic or sustainable element in each fan.
Yeah, I just had sent her the dates and the info on the next two, so Scottsdale and the Shangri-La one, and she will look into that with the dates and stuff. Yeah, and then I guess the other piece I wanted to just ask Kate to give us a little update about the fan that she just hosted, which looked, by the way, incredible. I want to go to St. Lucia now.
Moni, do you want me to do that now or when I'm giving my overall update?
No, you can go ahead and do it now since it's part of FAM.
Okay, yes, it was amazing. Anina, you are amazing for putting it together. I would say it was really helpful getting communication, getting looped in as early as everyone was chosen. I think that's so important and so necessary. So it takes a lot of the work off Anina at that point, since she did all the planning before and is obviously really busy. So it also allows you as the host to get introduced to people and really give them a checklist, because I know right now with COVID, stuff is changing constantly. So it's so important. I had to remind people hey, this is your last day to fill out the authorization, or, tomorrow's the last day to fill out the authorization form, and just making sure that everyone knew the exact date they had to get their COVID test, all those kinds of things. So it's really important. The trip itself was amazing. The partner, the Viceroy, is incredible. They were all so on the ball, super helpful. We had someone whose flight was delayed, but they just made everything absolutely seamless. So if any future hosts want to talk with me, sidebar, have any questions about the behind the scenes logistics or just about the destination, happy to answer that too.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for hosting that one, Kate. And for everyone else, remember that hosting opportunities are available to you as well. And Anina, thanks as always for all your hard work on the FAMs. It's such a big part of the organization. And one thing that I love seeing is that every FAM we put out, we're getting applicants and new people that I've never heard of. And it's reaching a new audience and kind of bringing them into our organization. So it's an awesome program. If anyone has ideas or suggestions, we'd love to be more proactive about where we're going to go on our next FAM. So if you're like, gosh, we should really consider this destination or that destination, even if you don't work for the company or the destination or have the contacts, but you think it would be the right fit, let us know. Send your suggestions, your ideas to Anina, because we'd really like to utilize our collective connections and relationships in the industry to go out and ask for these FAM opportunities. All right. That covers FAMs for right now. Hey, Erica, thanks for joining us. Sorry, I know you had a slight delay. We did talk about events and you and I can connect afterwards.
All right, my child didn't want to go to bed alone.
No problem, nobody does. Okay, so moving on to chapter operations. Stephanie is on the call today. And Stephanie, I don't know if you have anything to share or you want me to share on your behalf, because I know we're kind of just getting things back on track again after the start of the new year.
I was going to say, me and you definitely need to connect, because the only things that I have on my list are that Charleston just keeps chugging along. That girl does not stop.
I know. They really do.
She does not stop. And then we have those 2 potential leaders in Atlanta, but that's all that I'm up to date with as of right now.
Yeah, perfect. So I'll give everyone just a really quick update. Our 6 active chapters, we've got Los Angeles, San Diego, Charleston, Chicago, Vancouver, and New York. All, we have full team of officers on each. They're all actively looking into event opportunities for this year. I already mentioned Charleston has an event planned. As Stephanie said, Charleston's just, there's no stopping them. So they're just cranking things out and doing a lot. And everything is pretty good on the chapter front for the time being. New chapter development, we have our eyes, of course, on Phoenix to hopefully launch soon. We had hoped to have it and coincide with the launch of with the Scottsdale FAM that we're doing next month. I don't know that it'll be the official chapter launch, but I'm hoping we can still kind of maybe loop in the leaders that we have for the Phoenix chapter with people on the FAM and kind of create something from that. So I'll be working with Stephanie on that. And then I think next in the pipeline, just based on interest and also where we're having these pop-up events, is going to include Atlanta, Boston, and DC. We have a long list. There's a lot of other cities on that list as well, including Texas and cities in Texas, cities in Florida, Denver, San Francisco, Seattle. The list is really endless, but we just want to kind of focus on one at a time. So next up will be Phoenix and then probably Atlanta from there.
I mean, with Texas and Florida, like continuing to have events.
Yeah, we should move them up on the priority list. I know. And I keep going back and forth too between Houston and Dallas, because every time I think Houston, then we get interest from Dallas. So Stephanie, let's connect this week and kind of make a concrete plan for how to move forward, at least starting with, I think Houston or Dallas, and then Miami after that.
You know, when we launched Alaska a couple of years ago, it was actually branded Alaska and it wasn't branded Anchorage. And the theory behind it was that we were actually going to rotate between some cities in Alaska, mainly Anchorage and Juneau. Okay. So, you know,
that's an interesting concept maybe for Texas.
Yeah, maybe like, you know, until they're fully like functioning chapters, maybe it is Texas and we rotate between those two. I don't know. You guys can discuss that, but like something.
It's a good idea. Okay. Perfect. Okay, Caitlin, I'll go ahead and pass the baton over to you to take over, giving us updates from communications, please.
Yeah, so as Monica mentioned earlier, we're looking now for a digital content manager and a social media manager. So in the meantime, I'm going to be handling those departments. But would love to try to get some help on that sooner rather than later. So if anybody knows anybody, definitely let me know. And really just for me, I'm going to handle those and also focus on getting organized. I really would like to make sure that we have some nice systems and workflows in place for when we have these new people join us, and help the communications process go a little bit smoother, and be a bit more proactive rather than reactive. So that's really what I'm trying to focus on right now.
And for me, really just focusing this month on getting our media kit up and off the ground and running, updating the media gallery for press releases so that we have that all set and it can just be something that we link to and people have all of the great imagery, or journalists have all of the great imagery when getting our pitches, and then taking a look at our current media contact list and updating that as well. So the goal is to have all of this done by the end of January to really set us up for the year.
Awesome. Thanks, Natalie. And one thing that Caitlin and I were just talking about earlier today, members of our chapter leadership team sometimes come to us asking for sound bites or a bio or something official. So I don't know if it'd be part of your media kit or at least just to have some resources for us to use, not just externally, but internally as well. As our leadership team continues to grow with directors and managers and 24 chapter officers. We're a team of about 40 right now. And as we add chapters, obviously that will continue to grow and grow. So it would be really helpful, I think, too, if we can have, that approved language, things kind of already templated, written out that we can provide to the chapter officers for their use as well. And for all of us. I mean, Anina might use those for FAM sponsors, Erica for event sponsors. So
definitely. Are you looking for like a one pager of like the directors and like bios all compiled in one, and then like a little blurb of millennials and travels, or do you want descriptions of everyone who sits on? Is that kind of what you're looking? Is that what you're referring to? Like
probably not bios of the people, but like just like profiles of the organization.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. So Josh might have something.
We also need to loop back around for the video that we filmed back in July.
Yes, I was just thinking of that too, Josh, that I never heard back unless he responded to you.
Okay.
I didn't see a response.
Okay.
I didn't.
I can follow up.
Okay, great, thank you. And if any, just driving home the fact those positions are open. If anyone knows anyone, please let us know. Social media is obviously very important to the organization, so we need to fill that role right away, as is digital content. Kate, over to you and your team to share a membership update with us. I'm not sure if you can share like membership numbers and stats, like where we're at with membership, and then also would love to hear from Kim and Amanda. Or sorry, Amanda's not here, so just from Kim after that.
Yeah, so not a ton of updates for me, like really just looking at membership numbers, as you said. I know that's one thing that me and my team are always trying to increase. Personally, one of my goals this year is to focus more on like big picture forward thinking things instead of just a lot of like behind the scenes Zoho management stuff. That doesn't really affect anyone else, I would say, but just my goals. I did not get Amanda. I saw this morning, she mentioned she was sick. I have not gotten her updates, but she and I have been in communication over the break, just about some things that, you know, she's looking forward to, goals and things like that. More job postings, but also kind of, you know, just some of the stuff that we already talked about in terms of professional development that Josh and Monty mentioned, you know, those kinds of salary negotiation videos, all those things. So kind of a lot of cool stuff that are hopefully in the works. And, you know, she will hopefully be able to get more detailed update for you guys on that next month. I apologize, I didn't get like an actual update from her since I just saw this morning she wouldn't be joining tonight. And Kim, over to you. Oh yeah.
And, sorry, or maybe this is a question for Josh. I can't remember where we left off about our membership survey. Is that still going out?
That was indefinitely put on hold the last time we talked about it.
Yeah, I think we did not loop back around on it. I mean, I think that let's put that on the docket for February. Obviously,
yeah, I think. I know we're putting it off to like have our database kind of cleaned up and updated, because what's the point of sending a survey to a database if like the contacts are dead? Not really, but you know what I mean. The email addresses aren't valid. But I also think before we get too, you know, far along into the year, it's a good opportunity to say, new year, help us like, you know, with our plans for the year ahead. And also it's like, before we get too invested and doing so much work before we know what our members actually want.
Why don't we do a collective effort in trying to send out a dedicated email at the end of this month. Let's also, if we can really push it on social, once we get those results back, I think that'll allow us to dictate and decide what are our goals as an organization. So yeah, instead exactly. we were like, what are our goals? And then like, you know, simultaneously, like, what does the membership want? Where in reality, our goals need to be reflective of what the membership needs and wants. So let's postpone our goals meeting until, you know, end of February, early March. I know that's a little bit late, but I think we did it about that same time last year. And let's try to get that out, you know, in 2 weeks, Kate.
Okay, so.
Right, it's Asana, it's ready to go, so.
Okay, so the membership survey, and it's already built in Zoho Forms and the campaign's ready?
It's in Zoho Forms, yep, it's all there.
Okay, let's beta test that with leadership and then tweak it if we need to, and then we can get it out there. And let's just put it on the calendar for 2 weeks.
Okay, so like the week of January 24th, we're gonna send the survey?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have the screen up. I was looking at the calendar. So if you're nodding your head, I couldn't see you.
Sorry, yes, I was.
Sorry, I have to toggle between the agenda and the Asana and the actual Zoom screen. So sometimes I need verbal confirmation. Okay, so that works. So membership survey, and then I thought I had something else to ask you about membership.
And let's lead in with the value proposition of, you know, help us determine our goals as an organization. So people really feel that we may not listen to them, but let's at least, you know, get their feedback and let them believe. I mean, and if it's good stuff that we can implement and we see a lot of it, the frequency of a particular comment, then we need to address it. And, with that, then, but let's lead in with like, help us determine our goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think like the survey is so important. It's like, what's the point of doing all this work if it's not even what our members want? So let's get that survey out. And then, so Kate, you'll get that finalized,
I'll just
sent out, and then also assign in Asana, like the social media aspects to the communications team.
Yeah.
Can you add some comments about the frequency of our communication? So like, for instance, if our open rates and click-through rates are like, maybe we don't need to be sending monthly emails. Maybe we need to be sending every other month emails and we'll get double the open rates. So let's think about that aspect as well of what are the 3 things that us as an organization are spending our time and energy on, and determine if those are actually effective within the members. Exactly.
Okay. So Kate, we'll add a question then about frequency of communication.
Okay.
And then if you can beta test it this week, that will be probably great, because to all of us, just to us. And if you want to beta test it with the chapters after that, fine. But let's start just with this team of directors and managers. And managers, if you go through that survey and you're like, wait, we're not asking about this or that, or you find that maybe there's something, there might be a reason why it's not included, or just, but let Kate know if you think that there's a topic, that we should ask that's not included. All right, so sorry, over to Kim now with exclusive benefits, please.
That's fine. I don't have much of an update. I lost a bit of momentum in the last quarter of last year. So I've just been putting a updated list together today of everyone I need to follow back up with, who I'd reached out to previously. I know Elizabeth and Monica have both made a lot of connections. And I always reach out to them, but I haven't been great about follow-up over the last couple of months. So I'm just gonna really push follow-up January. And then I've also kind of gone through all the emails I've gotten from you guys with suggestions. And so I'm gonna reach out to those new sort of suggestions that I hadn't gotten to before. So as always, I will always gladly accept suggestions from you guys, and if you have connections, that would be great. But I'm really going to focus over the next month on following up on those sort of in progress benefits, and hopefully get more of those confirmed.
Great. And I know we talked about during when Kate, Josh, and Caitlin and I met, kind of some other ways to maybe get more proactive on how to do some outreach for those exclusive benefits. And I think Kate's going to connect with you on that, right, Kate? Like what we talked about was kind of just categorizing the different kind of themes of the benefits that we're going after, whether it's professional development, like fun, kitschy travel swag, or business services, and then kind of break it down from there with what is it that would benefit our members, like what type of benefit, and then seeking out the companies or contacts.
Can we add that to the membership survey as well, of asking them? So if we segment any type of benefit, some of them might be like, I don't care about any of the benefits. I mean, if we legitimately get 60% of the respondents saying like, I haven't even looked at the benefits, like I checked it out, it's not really that big of a deal to me. Like maybe we're just spinning our wheels in that wheel, that program.
Or ask a survey to ask like what type of benefits, and then maybe probably give like real actual examples, Kate. Like we talked about professional development. So that would be like GDS training, or some of the ideas we talked about for a virtual event, or business services, like virtual assistants, things that are going to complement your existing business or help you in your current, business or your position. And then, some of the fun stuff too. I know at one point we had like discounts for like the Juicy camper vans and the, under Canvas. So things that aren't necessarily booked frequently by travel advisors, or things that aren't commissionable. So that could be another category as well, is travel benefits. I mean, but also keep in mind, the travel benefits, like I think, who's the guy, the Mexico Villa guy, Maxwell Residency.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I know like we have a benefit from him. Obviously, remember that, you know, if you're not a travel advisor like myself, you're a supplier, like we could be a client for him, right? So it's important to keep that in mind too, and to not think just from a travel advisor standpoint. And then I think the last comment I had about benefits is associations and memberships as well. And I know we're working on something with the bridge. I did want to share Andrew Finn. I had a call with him last week and he had great feedback about you, Kim. He said you've been great to work with and he's really excited about developing that benefit. So I think those 4 categories that I just kind of laid out. So
yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then Josh, over to you and your team, please.
So Carolina was also sick today, but we've had a couple calls to develop the sustainability and philanthropic programs. So she's currently working, from her notes that she sent me, she's currently working on a featured sustainable partner that would be like a monthly recognition. So it would be, you know, we asking them questions about their programs, including that in our newsletters and social media. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be like partner of the month, but she has about 6 at the moment. So cool. If anybody has, she's asked if anybody has suggestions on, you know, partners or companies that have been extremely successful. I just need to make a note because I need to email her something about a particular partner before I forget. Yeah, so go ahead and email, her email is philanthropy@millennialstravel.com. She's also working on, so she's broken out the program into channels on who's impacted by whatever initiatives are created. And so one of them is like the travel advisors, also their clientele. So she's working on collateral to raise awareness about sustainability, maybe like top 5 or 10 ways you can be sustainable, do's versus don'ts, perception versus reality, possibly doing like a short series or posts or stories about it. You know, also some things that can be distributed to the clients of advisors or tour operators. You know, with a small branding of us, I mean, we want to remain somewhat agnostic, but we also want to put out good content. And then also brainstorming ideas on incorporating philanthropic and sustainable initiatives into the FAMs. Scottsdale is a bit more of a challenge. So anybody has any suggestions to email her?
In Scottsdale?
Yeah.
Elizabeth might have some ideas. Any?
Yeah, actually, yeah, the Tourism Bureau will have some really great partners that they work with. So we can certainly pitch that to Nicole and see if there's something that we can incorporate
there. Okay. Cool. Josh, anything else from Carolyn? I'm really excited about this program, and I think she's going to.
No, I mean, she's again, we don't want to take on more than we can chew. Mm-hmm. Obviously, a lot of this includes communication. We don't want to overwhelm the communications team with this. So just collectively, I think we need to be cognizant of, you know, working together, and if we need to table something for a little bit, providing that it's a proactive thing for the organization, like, you know, we'll get to it. If it's reactive, if people are waiting, you know, FAMs, like we're waiting on things, like that's kind of how we break things down at the director level of, you know, is it something that's either reactive or proactive? And we want to be proactive for everything, but at the same point, there are issues that come up, whether, you know, across the board, like almost on a weekly basis, just a random instance that we have to like group together and be like, okay, how do we figure this out? Because we are a fully functioning like organization at this point, that we profited like $1,800 last year, which is amazing. So that's in the bank account, and we can save that, and then we can eventually create an app. That's the goal. Or something, or I don't know, but Yeah, so yeah, I guess that kind of pushes this then over to Elizabeth for relations and advocacy.
Just to put something out there, regenerative travel is picking up steam. I had reached out to the founder or co-founder, but didn't get any response back. It was surrounding kind of the time that they were doing an event, but that would be something that I would say is worth us looking at again. And there's a slew of organizations within that association that may also be smaller partners that might be easier for us to work off of.
Sorry, forgive my lack of knowledge here. So regenerative travel is an organization, or you just mean like regenerative travel is a theme, or can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, it's an association.
Okay.
They recently held a virtual event end of last year, had some really amazing speakers. They also have, members and organizations that kind of build around, not only it's basically, it's like Sixth Sense is kind of how it started, because you're familiar with those products, it's very sustainable. And then it's obviously built up around that. So there's, a lot of eco lodges and other resorts that are very sustainable that have kind of come into this as a kind of commune of sorts. But of course, it's all around the idea of this regenerative travel. So what does that mean? And so that again leads to the sustainability kind of offshoot of what we're trying to do. And I know that they seem to have had some really great, like I said, really great speakers, really great organizations within it. So it might be somebody to look at partnering with. But like I said, I had reached out, but didn't really receive any response. And I can send you, Joshua, who I sent an email to, so that you have that too. So we just received the updated list for TravPro today, so I'll send that off. They have a 6 series of virtual events again that we'll be participating in, and I'll probably have a call with Dean this week in regards to kind of mapping out what does that look like in terms of our participation, and because we've been given a booth and the possibility to participate at each one this year. So we have planned to do that again.
Okay. That's exciting. So these are their different like themed events that they're doing. Like I know from my company, I've done some in the past that were like highlighting certain destinations or themed travel, but then we can have a booth there at no cost, and then we're just helping them promote the event in exchange.
That's correct. And I can tell you, we had over 200 people come visit our booth, and this last one that we just did.
That was Europe.
That was Europe. Cool. The next one up is family. They'll do Europe again, romance.
And were they asking questions? I'm just curious. Were they asking questions like, what are like millennial friendly Europe, or was it like more just about the organization? Or
yeah, good question. It was more about the organization. And where to sign up, and do I qualify? A lot of the questions were based around, I don't think I'm a millennial. And so we get down to like, okay, well, when were you actually, born? And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. We had multiple signups, people that said that they went and signed up to either be, get on the mail, get on the database or become a member. I don't really know what that looked like in terms of what they actually did, but I did have at least 4 that said that they just signed, quote unquote, signed up. So
it's also exposure. I mean, it's brand exposure.
It's great brand exposure. Yeah.
So it's free. Yeah. I think in the future, what we need to do is allocate or have a sign up so people kind of take, an hour, so it's not just like Elizabeth sitting the entire day while she's also on another like virtual conference and then me popping in when I'm like not like also having meetings. So I think it might be a great way too to get some of our chapter leaders engaged and part of the conversation. And so
great.
I think, to be like proactive about how we go through each event, like a sign up sheet and get people involved. And You know, it could be optional for them, but I could see a bunch of them wanting, like raising their hand and wanting to do it. So I think we should open it up to include them as well. And the you know, organization profile or bios that Natalie's going to create for us in the media kit can kind of help guide them. You know, they should know everything about the organization and be able to answer questions, but it'll be a good resource for them to have for that purpose.
Yeah, Elizabeth, can you actually connect with Natalie on like our booth that we have? I think it's I mean, everything, the content's all there. Maybe it just needs like tweaked a little bit or adjusted. I don't know. And I'm happy to like jump in and like collectively we analyze the content. But the virtual booth, it's static content that I kind of threw together, you know, quickly before the last event that I think we can probably do a little bit of a better job for this year.
Yeah, and it's evergreen, so we can really adjust it as we go throughout the year. So depending on what show it is, we can adjust to that messaging.
Let's try to make it static so we have less work.
But in terms of, I guess in terms of the welcome video, we still need to make that specific to the actual event.
Yeah, we definitely need the video.
Okay.
I think that's because I did this show for Aqua, and like the video is like the first thing you see when you enter the virtual booth. So that's great to have. One last question about those, Elizabeth. When you have the date, if you already have all the dates, or when you have the dates, will you share them with us so Caitlin can put those on, you know, our calendar too?
Yeah, I just got them probably an hour or so before the call, so I'll send them off, and it has the themes associated with them, so we can start to promote them as well.
Yeah, and I think Caitlin, we can put those on our official website calendar since we're participating with the booth. Yeah. Great. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, so we did find out that the Travel Adventure Show, the contact that we were working with has moved on. So I have another email out to one of the other contacts that we had within the organization. So more to come on what our participation looks like going forward. That's again, if they're going to continue with doing in person. We haven't seen much communication come from them at all. So, you know, not sure where they're sitting currently. So more to come about that. And then the U.S. Travel Association is hitting the ground running. So they have a lot of outreach to the legislature this year, obviously, because they're still reeling. We are still reeling with travel bans and, you know, things that are out of our control, but they're trying to get some more aid for those that are still in need. And so there's some things that have come up, and I'm going to send on to you guys, but we would be signing our name as an organization in support of them. So I just want to make sure that everybody's comfortable with that in terms of, you know, basically signing petitions saying, you know, we support U.S. Travel Association in this, you know, travel aid needed for travel. So I'm going to send that to you. And then second to that is right now they're going ahead with meeting in person for their destination, Capitol Hill. We participated in it last year virtually. And then this year it'll be April 5th through 7th. And so I'll send you those details so that we can look over that and decide what we're going to do, if we're going to send a representative or not.
And maybe even have another pop-up event for DC, Monica.
Yeah, so that's April 5th through 7th. And that's a fly-in event. So they're planning to be in person for it.
Okay. That'll be good to know. Yeah, I think that they have our full support. So definitely send through the information. And April 5th to the 7th, Erica, make a note of that. We'll also add that to the potential events calendar for a pop-up event in DC. We've got strong people in DC, past leaders. We had a chapter there before, and it was really strong. So I think we could have a couple really great small events. Awesome, Elizabeth, thank you for all of that. I was curious to know about the Travel and Adventure Show series and if they're going to move forward with the one in New York and Chicago. So if you remember this, the second you hear anything, please let me know, because I've got the chapter sort of in limbo on that.
Also, I think I mean, Elizabeth and I still need to talk about it, but I think we can become more participatory in USTOA, and as an official organization within that organization, and use that as an opportunity to have meetings at the conference. They have pop-up events in major cities, happy hours. And we can, we can pull, local leadership in those areas and have them represent the organization to continue that brand awareness. And I know that through those conversations and that participation, it'll elevate us even further on an international level.
Great. No, yeah, I think we should definitely participate in USTOA if we can. Thanks. All right, we'll look forward to hearing more about all of that. And I guess Gen Z, Derek and
Gen Z, here we are. So we had Josh and I connected at the end of last year. Looking forward to connect with him later this week so we can catch up and talk about how our New Year's were. But from a Gen Z perspective, we're trying our best to kind of streamline to the best we can and kind of repurposing positions while not overwhelming positions already existing in millennials in travel. An idea that came up today with, if we have virtual events that may coincide with the need of a Gen Z, not necessarily asking for a raise, but maybe something that could help with your resume or something that could help from a job finding perspective, then the Gen Zs could be introduced to that, and we could utilize that as an outreach tool to get more people at a college age to be interested in travel and find value at the start. But again, looking to discuss that with Josh later this week on Friday when we have our catch up.
So last week when I was flying back from South Africa, I sat next to a guy who I thought was way older than he was, but he's actually a sophomore in college, and started chatting, gave him my card, but wanted to get his perspective on like, did you know travel is an option as a career? And he's in marketing and communications, and just like, had no idea, and he goes to Temple, I think. And like it was just, I guess I hadn't spoken to somebody who's in college in a really long time, like for a professional level, nor should I have. But I think that there's so much of a need, and the ability for people like Derek and others to relate and kind of be that bridge of those that have defined their careers. And we've got to create some programs, but again, not overwhelm like our current team. I think we'll probably end up having to bring somebody on specifically for communications in Gen Z that is solely focused on those activities. And whether we do, Anina, we were looking at maybe doing like one Gen Z fam next year and utilizing that as a focus group. And maybe that's over the summer. Maybe that's what we do like June and July. We just do like a Gen Z fam. But I think, we have to have these conversations, because it was severely disheartened in the fact that he had no idea that, like there's a career in travel. And once I was explaining to him previous roles and current roles, he was like fascinated. So I think we just need to really create that inspiration and take that on as a primary. And I think, Kate, that's also something we could maybe filter into the survey is, I don't know if it's asking them like what activities or, I don't really care if
we do have something about a mentorship, like being either a mentor or a mentee. So that's already in there.
Okay, I think we're scaling back on what Gen Z and travel is as an organization. And so I think maybe we need to modify that. And what Derek will be focusing on is creating that inspiration and that, highlighting the success and funness and career opportunities within travel. So maybe we tweak that question a little bit. Use it as an opportunity to gather ideas or feedback on something. If we pitch something, if this is what we want to do, or maybe it's a side note of saying like, do you have any contacts at the collegiate level that you think would be interested in another form they can fill out? I don't know, but like let's Derek and I will chat on Friday, figure something out and see like what we can really integrate into that survey.
Yeah, I like the idea of integrating like a Gen Z component into what we're already doing without like a Gen Z fam or under professional development, what does that look like for Gen Z, and just having it be like one aspect until we can grow it further from there. So very good. Okay, we promised under an hour. We're just about there. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add or any questions? No? All right. Well, thank you all so much for attending. I will send out a follow-up that'll include the recording to this meeting as well as notes from the meeting. So please give that a read. Even though you're here with us tonight, give it a read because it'll include some of the follow-up activities that we discussed. And let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.